Hi, Mike here, and as you can see we have our new camper van. Been trying to figure out whether to call it a motorhome, a camper van, an RV. I'm just going to settle on camper van. And yes, it's underneath all that snow. We did get a big snowstorm in Massachusetts the day before. So this video was going to be about the walk through the collection of the camper van from the dealer. But a lot happened between getting the call from the dealer that the van was there and getting it to our house. Things like a price increase, getting things I didn't order, not getting things I did order, some more negotiating. So this video is going to be more about the story of what actually happened. And I didn't do a very good filming job of the walkthrough, but I'll show some of it. So first thing is let's get this van dug out. Okay, so what happened? Well, on a Monday I got a call from the dealer that the camper van was at their location. Now I'd been expecting it sometime in January, but I thought I might get some advance notice of when it was arriving. But hey, that happens. Now, part of the call was he said the price has gone up by $12,000. The price has gone up by $12,000. Now, I'd done my research, and the contract I had with Flag RV was pretty watertight. I could see no clause in there that allowed them to increase the price. So I pointed that out and also reminded them that Flag RV got taken over by Camping World, and Camping World was making massive profits and revenue, and they didn't need the money from me. He said, well, actually, Camping World bought the location and the units there, but they didn't buy the contracts from Flag RV. So they don't have to honor that, basically is what he said. Now, I was a bit annoyed at that, to say the least. Didn't know whether to believe the salesman or not. He did say he wasn't a lawyer, of course he wasn't. But I told him to go back and try again. He came back and said, well, I can't do anything better than that. It's an extra $12,000. So I had a couple of choices at that point. I could just accept it, or I could try and fight it. My concern was I knew they could sell the van for a lot more than I bought it, because I still got a pretty good discount on it, and he knew that as well, and I pointed that out. So the last thing I wanted to have happen was for them to cancel the contract, and I'd end up with no van and having to order another one. It would have been a higher price with another many months wait. So my negotiating tactic all along had been to push hard, but ultimately concede if there was a price increase. So I conceded. About 4 days later, I went down to the location, to the dealer, to collect the van, do a walkthrough. I'd done a previous video on what to look for and what to check in a walkthrough, and I'll link that in the description below. So I had my checklist with me, I had my items with me that I needed to test things with, and went to take a look at the van. And immediately as I walked up towards it, I pointed out to the nice lady, Carol, who was doing the walkthrough, that I know this isn't mine because it's got an awning, and I didn't order an awning. I know that wasn't an option, but I knew that they did sometimes build them without awnings if that's what the customer wanted, and that's what I wanted. Didn't want the awning, so she said I'd have to see the salesman about that. So we carried on looking around the outside of the van, and she was explaining things to me. As we got to the back of the van, I said, hey, where's the bike rack? That's not on the back door like it should be. And she said, oh, you'll have to talk to the salesman about that. I don't know anything about that. We carried on, got inside the camper van, and she said, sorry, we don't have the heating on because we can't put the heating on since it's been winterized. And I knew that wasn't true because with a trimmer hot water heater combi, you can run the heating system without the hot water. And I pointed that out to her, and she said, well, she wasn't a technical person, and she already explained that before. She was more showing me how to use things. And she said that her technicians had assured her that we couldn't put the heating on. She said she can go off and check with the technicians again. So she did that, and I did some more testing of things in the van. And here's some video of some of the things that I was checking as I was doing the walkthrough with her. So she comes back and says the technicians have assured her that we cannot put the heating on. And I said, well, they're just wrong. She said, well, you can come and talk to them afterwards. And I said, that's fine. So we carried on with the walkthrough, and when that was finished, went over to the service center, and I met with a couple of technicians and said that I heard that you thought that you can't put the heater on because it's been winterized. And they said, yep, that's true. And I said, no, that's not true. And they said, well, we're sure it is, but we'll look it up anyway. So they went to look up the Truma website. While they did that, I went off to the salesperson to talk about these things that were missing and things that I got that I shouldn't have got. He got the Coachmen sales rep, the regional sales rep from Coachmen, the manufacturer, on the phone, and I was there in the office with him. And we said, oh, one thing I forgot was we couldn't find the rear shades, the rear covers for the windows for nighttime, and the manufacturer's rep said they were higher up in the back of the van, and they were in fact in a place that we hadn't looked. We later on did find them, so that was fine. So I said, well, I didn't order the awning. I didn't want it with an awning on. And he said that, well, the conclusion was there was a bit of a screw up between the dealer and Coachmen, and the dealer had provided 2 or 3 different orders to Coachmen, the manufacturer, and this somehow got lost in the translation. So I was pretty annoyed about that because I really didn't want the awning, and I wasn't going to pay for them to take it off. The reason I didn't want them to take it off was, well, it would have cost somebody some money, but mainly because you had to drill holes in the roof to install it, and a lot of the holes would get plugged, obviously. They'd be a point of weakness in the roof, so I'm kind of stuck with the awning. I think it looks pretty ugly. The way it sticks out over the front of the roof line. That's just the way the transit van is built. So that was that. With regards to the bike rack missing, I can't remember why it wasn't there, but Coachmen did say that the price they quoted the dealer for buying the van off of them didn't include the bike rack. So, and I clearly had it on the purchase order on the order form that I did. The bike rack was actually a last-minute addition that I put on when I was placing the order, and it goes on the rear door, and I have a bike rack I can put on the hitch. It just means the van gets extended a little bit. It raises or lowers, whichever way it is, the departure angle a little bit. I don't have to buy a swing arm so that you get the bike out of the way so you can open the doors. So I wasn't too upset that the bike rack wasn't there, but I had paid for it. So what I told the dealer was, look, I'm not too miffed about not getting the bike rack. I know that if I want it, you're going to have to buy it off a Coachman, and then you're going to have to spend the time installing it. So I said, as an alternative, just give me a $500 gift certificate to Camping World. So he said, oh, that's interesting. So he went off and talked to his boss, I assume, came back later and said, yep, you get your $500 gift certificate from Camping World, so I can buy some supplies instead. So I was happy with that. While this was going on, the techies came in, and one of them said, you know what, sir, you were correct. We hadn't got much familiarity with this Truma unit, and you can indeed put the heating on when it's been winterized. Yay! I knew that all along, so they learned something. I had reasonably low expectations of the abilities of the people to really know the van and give me a detailed walkthrough, because I know that this dealer had not seen many Coachmans, and a lot of it was new to them. So that's basically what happened. The next day I was due to go to my insurance broker to pick up the insurance certificate so I could go to the state R&V office to get the license plate, so I could then go back to the dealer to actually get the plates on the van and drive it off. They don't have temporary plates at this dealership to put on it. And lo and behold, we get a snowstorm and the state R&V office shuts down, and I can't pick it up on the Thursday, so I have to make another appointment for the Tuesday. I was due to drive down to Georgia on the Wednesday, and I really thought that getting the van on Tuesday, driving it on the Wednesday, a few thousand miles round trip, wasn't going to be a good idea. I really needed to learn a little bit more about the van. And I'd already at that time thought about things and changed my Georgia trip to flying to Atlanta and renting a car instead of driving all the way there. So there. So picked up the van, drove it back to the house, and settled it in. And I've got the van hooked up to the house electricity supply. You can maybe even see some of the steam coming off from the heater. I've got a separate electric heater that's really used for boats to keep the bilge warm in winter. I've got that around the back of the van inside where the lithium batteries are to keep them warm. So that's it. I'm looking forward to trips in the camper van called Rambler 4. And next trip, well, the first trip is probably going to be middle of March, going down to Pennsylvania for a 2-day orienteering race. Well, that's it for this video. If you like this and you want more videos to see about the RV and about orienteering and the other activities outdoors that I get up to, then just subscribe to the channel. Bye for now.